addressing a huge mindset problem, and all times are uncertain. In this video, Simon Sinek explains when attempting to create trustworthy teams, you are aware that assurance cannot be guaranteed. The concept of certainty does not exist. Leaders with an infinite perspective welcome unpredictability and seize unexpected opportunities.
There's nothing wrong with setting arbitrary goals with arbitrary dates, which is, by the way, how we build our businesses. We want to hit X amount of dollars in revenue by probably the end of the year because that's when we pay taxes. It's a completely arbitrary number. Somebody might say, we could do better than that. And you're like, you're right. And then we change the number, right? Complete works of fiction. So we're striving to hit a work of fiction, right? Yeah. And it's the same when we want to lose weight. I want to lose X amount of pounds by X date. Arbitrary, right? And we're doing all the things to do that. We're exercising, eating well, all the things. We love standing on the scale. We love a metric. There's nothing wrong with that. Human beings need that. We can't run in a marathon without mile markers. It's actually unnerving. We need to know how fast and how far, so the metrics are good. And let's say you hit your goal, right? You hit your performance goal just as you had articulated. Amazing, you feel incredible, you feel like you've succeeded. Here's the problem. You have to keep exercising for the rest of your life, right? In other words, you don't stop doing the things that you were doing. So the game hasn't ended. It was simply a waypoint. But what I think is more interesting is what happens if you miss your goal? What happens if you don't lose the amount of weight that you wanted on that date? And the answer is nothing. Nothing happens because you're probably way healthier than you are now than you were. You're probably easily you can see the trend data. You can see you're well on your way to hitting your goal. You just picked the wrong date. You're easily going to hit it in another month if you just stick to your regime. Business is the same, which is sometimes we miss our goals, but the question is what's the trend data? Is the team working well together? Is morale high? Is some of it out of our control? Market conditions and things like that, things we didn't know about. And so if we happen to miss the number, the problem is how are we rewarding our people? And so many of us only reward our people based on if they hit the number. But what if they're begging, borrowing, and stealing? What if they simply rush at the end of the quarter to drop their prices or have some sort of promotion or have some trickery? They'll hit the number. And then we bonus them, which tells everybody else, I don't care how you hit your numbers as long as you hit them. Well, guess what kind of behavior that's going to reinforce inside our organization? Whereas if you look at the data, the trend data, and you reward somebody who's well on the path, what we're telling you is as long as you're doing a good job, you'll do well in this organization. Leaders understand that they are not responsible for the results. They are responsible for the people who are responsible for the results. And that skill set is very, very different than just trying to get people to do the thing that you know how to do better than them because you've been doing it your whole life.
We can focus on patterns and progress rather than arbitrary goals by adopting an endless perspective. There will always be issues in business. In a managerial position, you will spend a lot of time identifying and resolving issues. The ability that will be most useful to you in the long run is having a problem-solving mindset. It has a bad psychological effect on us. When someone says there is a problem, the brain begins to concentrate more on the issue and mutes the mind's ability to generate solutions. You will have a more positive attitude about an issue when you accept it as a fact of life and work and embrace it. A solution-focused approach is preferable than one that is problem-focused. The two fundamental tenets of this strategy are as follows. This is a perfect illustration of how Honda eliminated its shortcomings and concentrated on its strengths when it entered the US motorbike market. You must concentrate more on the answer if you want to cultivate a positive mindset. Analyze the issues underlying causes to achieve this.
Because you can actually affect quite a lot of certainty if you only think quarter to quarter, maybe year to year. But if you start thinking in 5 and 10 year increments, we all know we have zero control over those outcomes. So finite-minded players like to play with very short time frames because it makes them feel better, even though the game is infinite. So it's actually, again, sort of a stupid idea. Infinite-minded players embrace uncertainty and find opportunity in surprise. And so where something goes wrong or different, And just as an aside, I got such a kick out of when COVID struck, everybody was talking about during these uncertain times. Newsflash, all times are uncertain. There's never been a time in history ever that was certain. All that happened was something that we didn't expect took place that reminded us that time is uncertain. And for the finite-minded players, the immediate reaction was panic, right? What am I going to do? How am I going to survive? And try and double down on the old way of doing things, hoping that if I just did it more, or at least attempt to do it online, that it would survive, right? The more infinite-minded players, and this has nothing to do with stress. We can still have high stress with what was going on, but the more infinite-minded players saw the sudden change in their business and thought, "Ooh, okay, this is an opportunity. What can I do with this?" And instead of doubling down on the way they used to do things, but doing it online, they said, okay, the times have changed, the way I operate my business have changed, all the things that I used to be able to do, like having lunch with people, can't do anymore. So given what I know now, if I was starting from scratch, I have something really valuable and important, how would I build my business today to still provide the value to the people who are looking for the thing that I offer? And that was their mentality. Their mentality was very entrepreneurial. Their mentality was very creative.
A solution-focused approach is preferable than one that is problem-focused. The two fundamental tenets of this strategy are as follows. This is a perfect illustration of how Honda eliminated its shortcomings and concentrated on its strengths when it entered the US motorbike market. You must concentrate more on the answer if you want to cultivate a positive mindset. Analyze the issues' underlying causes to achieve this to strengthen our culture and purpose. People need to be reminded of the company's why when circumstances are difficult and they are questioning what they are doing. Why are we doing? Who would want to work here anyway? Who cares if they don't? Being a leader is like living in a fishbowl where you are the fish, as anyone who has managed a sizable team will attest to. Even on a good day, your appearance, attitude, and words carry a disproportionate amount of weight, but every aspect of your manner is amplified in a crisis. Great leaders are aware of the value of operating as their calmest, most rested, and emotionally strongest selves every day for this reason. When you are at your best, it spreads across the company. It sets the correct tone and gives people who depend on your sound judgment around you confidence. The greatest selfless act we can perform is taking care of ourselves. This is not being selfish. Everyone who has managed a sizable team will attest to the fact that being a leader is similar to living in a fishbowl where you are the fish. Even on a good day, the appearance, your state of mind, and the words you say carry disproportionate weight. But in crisis, every aspect of your manner stands out. Great leaders understand the significance of working every day as their calmest, most rested, and emotionally strongest selves. It spreads throughout the company when you are at your best. It creates the ideal atmosphere and inspires trust in those who depend on your sound judgment. The most selfless act we can perform is taking care of ourselves. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. For more videos, like these and subscribe.